everyone, Melissa here and welcome back to my channel. So I'm back again today with another layout for the Hip Kit Club, and my assignment today is to use any of the kits and to embellish my embellishments and use on my layout. So that's going to be quite interesting. I've got a little bit of an idea of what I want to do. I'm going to scrap this photo of my husband and Ava when she must have been not even 2. I have to look back at the date, and Brielle's in it too, and it's at my in-laws, and it had snowed, and they have a 4-wheel drive motorbike from when they had farm, and their property is quite big, it's rural, and so they like to drive the motorbike around in the snow, so that's a bit of fun. And what I've done with this photo is I've edited it to blur kind of the background, because the story is going to be about Ava, and I think it must have been her first time doing this with my husband. The other kids have done it several times, and so I've just edited it to blur a lot out so it really focuses in on her, and I've zoomed in as much as I want to because I still want to see the background because it's quite pretty. So that's the photo. And then what I have pulled, I'll get to the embellishments in a sec, but I have got this vellum that comes in the paper add-on, cardstock add-on. You get 2 sheets of white vellum. It's quite thin, but my intention, I'm going to try and emboss some of these snowflakes, or maybe even the heart, to add to my embellishments. I may even stamp as well. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how the embossing goes on vellum. I have to be real careful not to overheat it. Yeah, we'll see. And then I've also got paper that I might to use. I've got this piece of basil in powder blue, probably for a photo mat. And then this one as well as a photo mat. That's called My Happy Place. And then I'm going to have a white cardstock background because that really makes these beautiful exclusive papers and products pop. And because it's a snow photo, I'm thinking of having both of these used on here, and I'll show you when I get to it. So this one is Perfect Plaid, gorgeous paper, that one, and this one is Northern Lights. And once again, I have forgotten to tell you, but I'm using the December 2020 kits. So let's have a quick look, and you're going to laugh because there's no way I'm going to use all of this, but I've pulled the smaller items and also the different textural items so that I can embellish my embellishments. So I've got the cardstock and foil bows that I haven't used yet, but if I'm going to do silver embossing is my plan, I want to use some silver bows. I've got the acetate and foil die cuts, which I also haven't used yet. I think they'll look lovely as part of kind of a layered embellishment. I've got the die cuts and the floral die cuts, enamel dots. Just trying to move these down so you can see. I've got the journaling bits, and I've actually pulled the one I want to use. This beautiful envelope I'm going to embellish on here, and then I want to put my journaling onto here, I think, because it's really sweet. So that's those. I've got the puffy star stickers. I have got the puffy phrase stickers, these beautiful floral puffy stickers. I've got the other puffy stickers, all the puffy stickers, because you know I love them. Mini puffy alpha stickers, I may use them, I'm not sure. And then we've got all the chipboards. So this is chipboards, yeah, chipboard stickers, 53 of them. They're more, I think they're aiming towards journaling. There's not that many kind of picture embellishments, it's more words and phrases and other kind of journaling pieces. Then if you saw my last video, you'll see that, well, for Hip Kit, that I used obviously the frames. So I've got these stickers, and there's a few more items there I may use. And then I've got these chipboard stickers, and I don't think I've used one from there, so it'd be nice to try and get some of these on. And then for my title, I've got the metallic puffy alpha stickers and then these black puffy stickers. So I've pulled a lot, and at this stage I'm not really sure what I'm going to do, so I'm going to put them on fast forward and we'll get into it. Okay, so rather than work on my embellishing of my embellishments, I decided to set up my page so that I know what I'm dealing with. I had an idea of using 2 paper strips, and I think I explained in the beginning that I use these two papers because they have snowflakes on them. So I've just torn the edges of both of them, and I tear them in a way that you can see the inner core of the paper. And the way to do that is to hold obviously hold the side of the paper up that you want, hold it in your left hand and tear with your right hand, and that way you get that exposed white core. So I wanted to use some cardstock as a photo mat just to provide a little visual barrier along with the white frame on the photo, but between the photo and the next layer of paper that I'm adding, and I love this blue sort of uneven dot, I did tear the bottom edge of that paper and I looked at it and I didn't like how it was looking. So here I'm trimming it off, and I was also playing around with which of the two papers to use as the base for my layout. So I'm also adding some craft foam behind my photo because I know I'm going to want that, and it will make it easier when it comes to tucking my embellishment clusters underneath, particularly the one that I will be creating with an acetate tag. So now I'm going through the die cuts and seeing what I want to use. I know what my photo is, I know what my theme is, and I know what pattern paper I'm using for a background. I'm also using a white background to help make the embellishment clusters in my layout pot. So I've brought that pocket from the journaling tags, I think it was, pack. I brought that out because I want to make that one of my embellishment clusters. And now I've got the acetate pieces, and I'm just doing this really quickly but seeing if there's anything here that I want to use, and I've pulled out that scalloped silver piece. Now the silver is hard to see, and it's also hard to see in my final images. I tried really hard to photograph my layout so that you could see the metallic of the silver, but it was a struggle, so you'll see that at the end. And now I'm looking at the chipboard quickly and knowing that I want to use that acetate tag. And as I always say, I can't leave a tag without twine. I'm coming to the end of that doodle twine. That's just for my stash, and I need to get some more because I just love adding that black and white one to everything at the moment. So I've pulled a few snowflake die cuts and also an acetate snowflake. I'm not wanting to have too many extra snowflake embellishments because I'm planning on embossing or heat embossing the stamp snowflake from the stamp kit. So one tip you can do with chipboard is cut it off or cut around on the plastic backing so that you're not having to commit to using it straight away, and you can also move it around before you do commit to using it. So pulling out a few more things here, I've got this chipboard which I talked about in my intro, and that set in particular has a lot of New Year's themed icons, but I did like this tree because at my in-laws' place they have a few trees and it's winter, and I thought that would just help add to the whole scene that I'm trying to create. And then here I decided to do a little sketch and number the clusters that I'm intending on creating. I've never done this before. With my mini albums I will sometimes draw out a little plan, but I just wanted to make sure that I had my main embellishments that I'm going to embellish and that I could remember. So now I have got the stamp set or stamp kit, and it's exclusive of course, and there are beautiful snowflakes in it, and I wanted to use all of them, and I'm just using some Versamark embossing, I guess it's like glue, it's ink, and stamping it onto vellum. And I've put down a piece of just copy paper that I've folded in half, and you'll see when I tip on this Nuvo silver embossing powder, I will tip it directly onto that piece of paper, and then I can easily get it back into my jar, which you'll see in a sec. So here, that's what I'm doing there. I never get it in without spilling a bit, and luckily I have a good vacuum cleaner that I, off camera, have to clean my desk because this powder will just go everywhere. So I'm using an old paintbrush that I don't really use anymore just to brush away the excess, and my favourite bit is about to come up where I'm going to heat emboss them. So you've got to be careful with vellum, you don't want to overheat it, but look at this. I just love watching the sped up version of that powder melting and turning into silver metallic. Just so beautiful. So just taking a bit of care, making sure I go in and melt the areas that I haven't, and I think off camera I went back in again. And I was really, really happy with how these turned out. So I'm fussy cutting them out now, just really simply. As always, I'm turning my vellum, or turning the paper, instead of turning the scissors. So I'm going to start doing my embellishing of my embellishments. Now, I'm just experimenting with zooming in with my phone, so this is not perfect. Sometimes as I get really into this, I am not centered, and I'm sorry about that, but I think as I do this more and practice, I will have a better idea of where I'm meant to be in terms of where my camera is. So for this one, I'm using that little activity schedule, or our activity schedule. I've put down an acetate snowflake, which is silver, but once again, it's hard to see on camera. I've got a floral die cut, and on each of my clusters, I'm wanting to add one of my embossed snowflakes. I did think about adding that heart, that chipboard heart, but it's too big. So I just added some dimensional adhesive underneath the leaf that goes onto the activity schedule. And later on, when I adhere this onto the layout, I'll add more dimension on the parts of it that need it. And the reason I'm not doing that now is because I need the background cardstock to be able to adhere it to be able to do that. So there was an example of me not really being on camera, but I was just trying to make a little nest of thread. I've got silver metallic thread, and this is obviously a Missy Whiddon technique. And I don't do it that often, but in this instance I thought it would add a little bit more texture and a bit more interest to these embellishments. And I remember Missy talking, I think years ago in one of her videos, about how hard it is to work with metallic thread, and it surely is. Like, to try and get it to stay still and to stay where you want it is quite difficult. So I've used that Hooray chipboard piece and added some glue to it as well to help hold it down. So just adding one of these little white leaves or berries, and that's that one. So this was moving really quickly, but at the end of making them, I'll show them to you. And then in my close-ups at the end of the video, there is a photo of all of them made. So here is the acetate, acetate label, not label, tag, acetate tag. And I'm wanting to tuck it behind my photo and have some parts overlapping and the rest just popping above. So I've added one of my snowflakes, and then I'm using these from the floral die cut pack. It's like, I guess they're flowers, aren't they? And one of these little puffy phrase and word stickers, and it says cherish. So yeah, sorry, again off camera, I think I added some dimensional adhesive as well. And then here I am realizing that I need to get back into focus, or get back into the, not really center of the page, but sorry, center of the screen, but in a way that you can see it. And so I have added another snowflake as always. I had twisted that twine on the enclosure because you could put some journaling inside of it, but I'm using this entirely as an embellishment. I'm not using it as a pocket, so it will stay closed. So on top of the snowflake, I've added the chipboard Love This, and then I've got a little blue chipboard heart. I don't know why, but I felt like I needed to add some liquid adhesive behind that as well. I'm adding a red puffy sticker. Thought about adding that white leaf there, but it didn't look quite right. Now my intention is to add the date onto that little printed label, and I've put the little puffy word quality time. So now onto the cutest one that I make. I had to use these little mittens. They're so adorable. Adding a snowflake with a pop dot behind it to lift it up. It's really important for me to have lots of dimension and I guess texture and movement in these embellishment clusters. And then what you didn't see off camera was me just pulling the adhesive backing off that chipboard label. So I'm adhering the mittens down, and then I've put the popped up snowflake, and then just looking for another little phrase sticker, and I thought the right now was perfect. So I just love how sweet this little embellished label is. I thought about adding an enamel dot, but I will come back and do that with all of them soon. So now I was going to use the die cut snowman, but then I remembered that there was a chipboard snowman, and I thought that would be more secure and give a lot more dimension and bulk, I guess. It would look more solid as an embellishment. So I've added one of those washi strips, chipboard washi strips behind it. I have kept the backing that I've cut the washi strip from. I've kept that on because I'm not ready to adhere this to my layout yet. Sorry, I'm off camera again, but I have this little fussy cut house that I had left over from my last layout, and I thought it looked really cute with the snowman. I've just popped up the parts that I need to with pop dots, and then I'm wanting to create another little thread nest. And I'm so sorry that you can't see this, but you kind of get the idea of what I'm doing there. So I've got it kind of poking out from behind her. She's in pink, so I'm going to call her a her. And then with a pop dot, I'm just adhering a snowflake onto the snowman's hat. So here are my embellished embellishments, and then I'm going to add a puffy star, I think, onto most of them. So there's a few different sizes and colours and patterns, little ones onto the small embellishments and bigger ones onto the bigger ones. And so here with the snowman, I felt like I needed something else, so I'm adding another one of those embossed snowflakes. So off camera, I have gone and added 2 rows of machine stitching in that same silver thread, just for texture and interest. And then I'm just adding some Heidi Swap Colour Shine and Tinsel, which is like a grey, silvery grey. It's not metallic, it's matte, but it's not black, and it's just a little bit more subtle. That's from my stash. Just needed something. I find it very difficult to not add some kind of mist or ink to a layout. And then I am committing now to adhering my photo. So the first embellishment I'm adding, or embellishment cluster, is this acetate tag. And because I adhered my photo first, I forgot that I needed to tuck this behind. So I've just cut off some of that acetate, and I'll use it probably for something else. So my next one that I'm adhering is the little snowman. I am adding a few more pop dots just to make it even. Some of these embellishments need a double layer of pop dots, especially if they're overlapping my photo, just to make everything even. So it's so cute. And I added that little tree behind the house. It does look like it's part of this embellishment cluster, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, I find that because I'm a heavy embellisher, I did need to add a few more things aside from just the embellishments that I made. Ava is now joining me. She seems to join me on every video lately, and I know Missy says that about her daughter too. Ava just seems to love and know when I'm creating a video and has to come in. So, trying to help me there. Mum, I'll do it, I think she was saying. I was just showing her how I use that little ruler just to line it up and get it straight. So I've tucked that pocket slightly behind my photo. A tip when you're adding craft foam behind your photo is that if you cut the craft foam smaller than the size of the photo and stick it in the middle, that enables you some room to tuck things underneath. So for this activity schedule prompt for journaling, I wanted to add the words snow day, and I've cut some of this out because my head got in the way quite badly and I just didn't want to see that or want you to have to see that. But yeah, I finished it up, added my journaling, and I machine stitched the word snow day just to add a bit more texture and make sure that those beautiful little puffy letters would stay. So then I just needed to add a bit more embellishment, like I said I needed to do. So I'm going to put that snowflake at the top there, and now I'm working on my title, which is so original. Not really, but snow much fun. I just had to play on that. These metallic leather stickers are puffy. They're absolutely beautiful. But like I said before, I had trouble photographing this layout, so the shine and shimmer of the metallic doesn't show in a photo, it doesn't show like it is in real life. It's not true to what it really is. So now that I've put my title down, I know that I can go ahead and adhere that snowflake. I was so happy to get that little chipboard heart down. And then this set of letter stickers has some metallic hearts, so I've added them in 3 different places. Now I'm adding some enamel dots, and I like putting them in 2s, which is probably a bit unusual, but I think they look good. Just scattering them around. I've even got one tucked underneath that activity schedule. I am wanting to use up all of my embossed snowflakes, and I think if I don't add anything in this white space, it looks a bit, no, it looks like I've cut my layout in half. So that's just how my mind works, and I do like to use probably more embellishments than a lot of people. So now I'm wanting to make a little bow because I need something in that position where I've put the bow. So I decided to use, rather than use them all matching, I'm going to mix and match them because I think that's fun. So I've got the metallic part, and then I've got the floral base, and yeah, so I use glue dots. I didn't say pop dots. I use glue dots to make my bows. You could use liquid adhesive. I just find glue dots best because they are immediately adhesive. You don't have to wait for any drying time. So I use about 3, I think, glue dots to be able to make one bow. And then I use my pen to get some dimension into that part of the bow that I'm working on. And I'm putting a pop dot in because I know that when this goes into an album, it is going to be squashed and it will lie flat. So if I have a pop dot in there, I will maintain some of the dimension of that bow. And then my glue dots break because I think I'm actually coming to the end of them. So I use a dot and some liquid adhesive to adhere that bow. But normally I would just use a glue dot. Okay, sorry about that. I just got interrupted by one of my kids because it would not be a video of mine without someone coming and interrupting me, even at 10:15 at night. So added another tree, a little chipboard tree, because it was cute. And it kind of provided a balance to the tree on the other side. And then I'm going through these florals because I'm still thinking this needs something else. And I'm wanting a little cluster just where I'm working there. So then I remember that I haven't put some dimensional adhesive behind that leaf on that other flower. And then just trying out a few of these pieces to see what works. And I think I go back to what I had originally. So I'm adding those berry, I kind of like berries, or what you get once a flower has stopped flowering in autumn, that kind of look. I think that's what they are. And another flower and a leaf. And so adding liquid adhesive and then popping up the tops of them. Then I decided to tie the twine into a bow, and that's my tip on how to tie a bow, is you turn your object upside down and tie the bow, and for some reason that enables the tails of the bow to hang down. And that is my final layout. So there is a look at my 5 embellished embellishments. I love how this layout turned out, and I really loved making the embellishment clusters first and then using them. It's definitely a technique that I wouldn't normally do, and I will definitely do it again. So thank you so much for watching. Do head on over to the Hip Kit Club through the link below if you are keen to become a subscriber. You get a discount on all other kits, and you also get access to the free subscriber cut files. Thank you so much for watching.